Hey, what's up?
Hello.
How are we doing with the concert progress?
Well, we have decided what food to sell, what parking is going to be needed, and we've also decided about those two bands we're talking about. And I have drawn up a bar graph so that you can show the governing body how organized we are, you know?
This is excellent progress.
I know.
But what about the other data?
Well, you've got a point. I think we should draw up a bar graph for the food and the transport.
Well, seeing as you did this graph, how about I do the next one?
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Eloise. Welcome to another lesson in our series on calculating with data. Today, it looks like Gerard will be joining us as we construct a pie graph using his findings from the survey on which food is the most popular with the students. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to draw and interpret a pie chart. Although Gerard loves hamburgers, he has seen from his frequency table that toasted cheese sandwiches are also very popular. Now he needs to draw a graph to show the school governing body why he plans to sell hamburgers and toasted cheese sandwiches at the concert.
Hi there. One of the parents on the governing body has suggested that we serve vegetarian food. But I reckon if we can make a graph that shows our findings, then, it should support our decision to sell hamburgers and toasted cheese sandwiches. Now, where's my frequency table? Here it is. Which graph do you suggest we use?
Well, let me tell you about the two types of graphs I spoke about last time, the bar graph and the pie graph. A bar graph uses bars to display the data. The length of each bar shows how many people voted for a particular thing. A pie graph shows how the total population is divided into different parts or slices and how much of the whole each part represents. In other words, a pie graph will show us what fraction or percentage of the students who are coming to the concert prefers each type of food.
Hey, isn't that the one that looks a bit like a pizza? Oh man, a pizza would go down nicely right about now.
Gerard, there's more to life than just food. But I do think you should use a pie graph. It will impress your school governing body, and it's not too complicated to draw either. See, it's just a circle where the whole circle represents the total number of students in the sample. Each slice that the circle is divided into represents one of the types of food listed on the questionnaires. We call these slices sectors of the circle.
And there should be two big slices, sectors on the graph. And they should be approximately the same size. And then people can see that we offered vegetarian samosas, but they just weren't popular.
That's true. So Gerard, let's have a look at your frequency table.
According to my frequency table, 35 people like hamburgers. So how am I going to put 35 people in a slice on the graph?
You need to show 35 as a part of the whole pie. The whole pie represents 100 people.
So are you saying I need to find 35 hundredths of a pie?
Exactly. And in this case, you could say that you want 35% of the pie.
How do I do that?
First, you need to find 100th of a pie. How much do you remember about circles, Gerard? Do you remember how many degrees there are around the center of a circle?
360 degrees.
That's correct. There are 360 degrees in a full revolution. Now we need to know how to represent one person on the pie graph. One person will need to be shown as 100th of 360 degrees.
So isn't that 360 degrees divided by 100?
Correct again. 360 divided by 100 is 3,6. So that tells us that 3,6 degrees on our pie chart represents one person. Now, how many degrees will represent the 35 people who prefer hamburgers?
Isn't that 3,6 times 35?
Good.
I can work that out. 3,6 times 35 equals 126 degrees.
Excellent, Gerard. So the sector or slice of the pie graph that makes an angle of 126 degrees at the center of the circle must represent the number of people who chose hamburgers.
I suppose we have to work out the amount of degrees in each of the other sectors as well.
That's right. What we'll do is work out the degrees for each sector and put them in a table like this. Now, how many degrees do we need for hot dogs?
Well, there are 23 people. So, 23 times by 3,6, that gives us 82.8. Degrees are so small already. How are we going to measure 8 degrees?
You don't need to. We can't measure that accurately, so we round it off to 83 degrees. And you show that as approximately 83 degrees.
Okay, 31 people voted for toasted cheese. So 31 times 3,6. That will be 111.6. But I think I'll round it off to 112 degrees.
Tell me, Gerard, why did you round it off to 112 and not 111?
Because 111.6 is closer to 112.
Well done. Now we can add that to our table. Now let's look at the last one.
Okay, 11 people wanted samosas. So that's 3.6 times 11, which is 39.6 degrees, which is approximately 40 degrees. Now I can add this to my table. Right, now that we've got all these degrees for our foods, is there some way that I can double check my answers?
Of course. Check that all the angles add up to 360 degrees.
Okay. 126 plus 83 plus 112 plus 40 equals 361. Oh no, I must have made a mistake somewhere.
Take it easy, Gerard. It's fine. You rounded off some of the angles to the nearest degree, so your numbers won't add up to 360 degrees exactly. But it's close enough.
Wow, that got me worried for a moment. But now that we've calculated the sizes of our angles, how do we draw a pie graph?
You start with a circle. Use a pair of compasses and draw a circle with a radius as large as possible.
Okay. Now, how do I draw my pizza slice?
Hey Gerard, enough with the pizzas. You're starting to make me feel hungry. They're called sectors, remember? You need to draw a radius as a starting line. A radius is a line segment from the center to the circumference or edge of a circle. It's always a good idea to draw the smallest angle first and leave the largest for last. You need to use a protractor to measure the angle of each slice. And make sure that the center of the protractor is placed over the center of the circle and the 0 degree mark lies on the starting line. Now you can mark off 40 degrees on the edge of your protractor. Use a ruler to draw a line from the center through the mark you've just made to the edge of the circle. That gives you your first sector. Now for the next one. You need to measure 83 degrees from the new line and then 112 degrees. That means the last sector should be 126 degrees. Is that what you get?
No, my last angle is only 125 degrees. Does that mean I have to start all over again?
No, that's fine. Remember, when we rounded off some of the angles, they added up to 361 degrees. If you were more than 5 degrees out, I would have suggested you try again. But to make sure you're as accurate as possible, always use a sharp pencil.
Okay, so how do we make sense of this graph?
You need to label each sector carefully. You could write in each sector or color each sector in a different color and provide a key for what each color stands for.
I reckon we use a key, because there's not really enough space to write in each of the sectors.
Also, it makes the graph look better.
Okay, here goes. I'm going to make the samosas red, the hot dogs green, blue for the hamburgers, and pink for the toasted cheese.
Now, before you finish, you need to give your graph a suitable title.
How about favorite foods?
That's good. It's short and simple.
And that's it. And the graph looks great. Almost good enough to eat. From this graph, it is easy to see that toasted cheese and hamburgers are the most popular. Samosas will not sell so well at the concert because a small fraction of the population likes them.
I think we should have a look at how you drew the pie graph again, Gerard. Will you take us through it?
Sure. First I calculated the angle, then I found the total amount to be shown on the pie graph and divided 360 degrees by this total. Then I multiplied that number of degrees by the number of each item. This gave me the angle of each slice. After I checked that they all added up to 360 degrees, I drew a circle and a radius, which acted as my starting line. Then I used a protractor and measured each angle from the center, and finished up by labeling each sector.
And don't forget, you also gave your graph a title. Well done, Gerard. Now it is time for our viewers to draw a pie graph. Over 700 students were asked what their favorite sport was. Look at the table of their results. Draw a pie graph to illustrate this data and then use it to answer the questions that follow. Well, we've come to the end of another lesson. Today we used representations of data on pie graphs to make some important decisions. So join us again next time when we'll find the averages of data. Till then, goodbye.